49ers update from their final practice before taking on the Cowboys on Sunday. First off, Dallas is not going to have Micah Parsons. He's officially been ruled out, so that is a big leg up for the 49ers. Second of all, I found this really fitting. Terique Owens ran out to the star against the Cowboys at Texas Stadium a couple times in 2000, and then he later played for Dallas. Well, his son is now with the 49ers. Terique Owens on their practice squad, and Terique Owens was named one of the 49ers Scout Team Players of the Week. That's why he gets to wear that camo jersey, likely for his impersonation of Dallas star receiver CeeDee Lamb in practice. So Terique Owens, who had a nice training camp, really developed over the course of this offseason. Raw prospect. Just like his dad, he started playing football late because he was a basketball player in college first. 49ers waived him with an injury designation when he broke his hand, but then they re-signed him to the practice squad after he was healthy. Terique Owens appears to still be doing good stuff behind the scenes for the 49ers, and it just so happens that he helped them out here in the week leading up to the game against the Cowboys. And I know that his dad, Terique Owens, is a big part of 49ers Cowboys lore since he played on both sides of this rivalry, and because that iconic moment at the Star after catching some touchdown passes from Jeff Garcia in 2000, I'm sure it's etched in the memory of 49ers fans. It was George Teague, the Dallas defensive back, who went and tried to level Terique Owens the second time he ran out to the Star. That was crazy. I still remember watching that game. I probably was 12 years old at the time. Terique scores a touchdown at the start of the game, runs out there. Dallas doesn't do anything. They ultimately retaliate with Emmitt Smith scoring a touchdown and running out to the Star himself saying, "This is our house." And then later on, Owens did it again because the 49ers were winning in a blowout. I think it was 41-17 or 41-24. And that's when George Teague ran out and leveled Terique Owens. So anyway, that's a memory. Terique Owens in the locker room now for the 49ers. Going to have to talk to him in a little bit. But no Parsons for the Cowboys. Probably no Jauan Jennings for San Francisco. He missed all of practice this week with the hip issue Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The only other player I didn't see out there was Kevin Givens, the defensive lineman who's dealing with a groin issue. So could be that the 49ers are just saying to both Jennings and Givens, hey, the bye week's coming up. You'll be able to double up your rest here if you don't play against the Cowboys, and we'll get you guys fully healthy for Week 10 against Tampa Bay. But Deebo Samuel was out at practice. George Kittle was out at practice. Both of those guys for the second straight day were involved without non-contact jerseys or anything. So it looks like Deebo Samuel is in, even though he was hospitalized with pneumonia a little bit earlier this week. And George Kittle, dealing with a foot sprain that caused him to miss Wednesday's practice, will also be in for the 49ers. Now we'll see what kind of undershirt George Kittle will be wearing. Last year he showed the undershirt. It was the F Dallas one that Gary Plummer wore back in the 90s. So we talk about 49ers-Cowboys rivalry moments. Well, there's definitely Terique Owens in 2000 running out to the Star. But before that, when this rivalry was in absolute full bloom in the 90s, it was Gary Plummer revealing that undershirt. That was before the game. He didn't want to get fined. So he just stood there in the Candlestick Park dugout. That was the entrance to the 49ers locker room. He had to go through the long tunnel from the dugout back to the locker room, but he wanted to make sure he didn't step foot on the field so he wouldn't get fined. George Kittle, meanwhile, did get fined, I think about $18,000 last year because he scored 3 touchdowns, and then on the third touchdown, 49ers were blowing out the Cowboys. He showed the shirt to the fans and to the world, and the NFL obviously fined him for that, as we expect. You might disagree with it, but you can expect it, and that happened last year. Kittle posted a photo on Instagram of Gary Plummer this week. So maybe it's a good luck charm because he did score those 3 touchdowns to wear that shirt. We will see if indeed that does happen on Sunday, and we might have to ask George about it because maybe he doesn't want to get fined $18,000 this time. So maybe he won't reveal the shirt even if he scores. That being said, I think George might be lined up for a big game against the 49ers on Sunday. It was Sunday Night Football against Dallas, I believe, on his birthday last year where he scored those 3 touchdowns. I think the matchup works well for San Francisco, especially if there's no Micah Parsons. But Dallas is an aggressive defense. They have changed too. Mike Zimmer's now the coordinator. Zimmer, the former coach of the Vikings. Shanahan has gone up against Mike Zimmer 7 times over the course of their coaching careers, either as a coordinator or as a coach. It goes back to 2008 when Zimmer was the defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals and Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. Shanahan teams are 4-3 against Zimmer teams, including recent wins when Zimmer was the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. So we can go back to 2021. 49ers put up 34 on Minnesota. 34-26 was the final score of that game. And you could go back to 2019 and the playoffs in that season. The 49ers won 27-10 against Zimmer's Vikings. So recently, with similar offensive structures as the 49ers have now, the 49ers have been able to put up some points against Mike Zimmer's defense. It hadn't been the poor track record that Shanahan has had against Steve Spagnuolo, against the Jim Schwartzes of the world, against the Brian Floreses of the world. 49ers and Shanahan have definitely done better against the Mike Zimmers of the world. Again, 4-3 for Shanahan over a longer stretch against Zimmer. I think that, when you look at this from a health perspective, it's really important that the 49ers establish some sense of continuity on special teams so that their coverage units perform better than they have been performing, because Dallas is the #1 special teams unit in the league. And the only way that I see Dallas being able to firmly contend in this game is if they truly deliver on the special teams gap that we do see in the rankings. 49ers number 31 in DVOA, Dallas is #1. Kevontae Turpin is a good returner. Obviously, Brandon Aubrey is a good kicker. We all know that. But Turpin, little small guy, he's like 5'6", might weigh 160 pounds, maybe 5'8". Maybe I'm shortchanging him at 5'6". But he only weighs 160 pounds. Like, you get a pinky on this guy and he goes flying. So we know he's quick, though. So the 49ers are going to have to stay in their lanes on the returns. Guys like George Odom, who missed a day of practice this week but has since returned, are going to be really important for the 49ers in this special teams game plan. And then if you're San Francisco, the gunner position on those punts is important. Remember, it was a punt return for Kansas City that really got them last week. I think they might elevate Malik Turner from the practice squad, freshly signed wide receiver, but he's been a good gunner for this team in the past. And with Chris Conley catching a touchdown pass from Brock Purdy at practice today, just in red zone drills. It wasn't any scrimmage work. But with Chris Conley graduating to that X-receiver position, since the 49ers are missing Brandon Ayuk, that means that there might be a gunner role open. And it's going to be really important for somebody like Malik Turner, freshly signed to the practice squad if he is called up, to deliver in that spot. All right, we'll talk to everybody soon. That's the update here. 49ers and the Cowboys coming up on Sunday.